Hey everyone, hope you're well. I just wanted to make a special post on VR because yesterday I've been flying VR for a while, but yesterday I had this amazing experience in X-Plane 11 using the Zibo 737 aircraft and World Traffic 3, just flying from Montreal to Boston. It was just like the perfect flight. And here's the thing about VR, it's a flight. It's not simming. So, for all of those wondering if they should take the plunge or maybe considering putting a lot of money on a huge monitor or special hardware, something like that, you don't need that anymore. And you get better than if you're using that. Here's my sim setup. Look at that. A big empty space. And I just put the chair there in the middle and I turn on the VR. The wife loves it, just no mess. And I'm in the plane or outside of the plane looking at it. And actually, yesterday's flight um, was amazing. After the flight, I must have spent 45 minutes or an hour just in the cockpit, moving around. I'm there crawling on the floor, but in VR, I'm just looking at all the switches where they are, taking a close look at them, and it's not the screen. It's like you're in the plane, and that's what I really want to press because all those VR videos you're seeing on YouTube is just that. It's still like a TV show, right? But when you're in VR, the plane is there around you, and it makes such a difference. For example, the first time I went in the Epic E1000 by Aerobasque in VR, I was like, "Oh my God, this plane is huge! It's much bigger than I thought. The prop, is my head gets about at the size of the bottom of the prop, and the whole thing is probably 5.5 feet high if you take the whole diameter of the prop. And I never realized that how huge the aircraft was compared to what I imagine it is. And these are all the little amazing surprises you have in VR. So on top of the presence of being in the plane and conducting that flight, helicopter flights, they're a ball in VR because you really feel your movement. I could never do helicopter flights on the screen before. I just couldn't do it. It didn't work for me. But in VR, typically I just take a helicopter and I fly around beautiful airports like San Francisco, um, just to look at them in detail. All over the place. Thanks, Mr. X, for your beautiful airports. Which brings me to this. So after spending an hour in the cockpit, um, which was fantastic. Then I went outside the plane, and first thing is I noticed that after landing, the F mod modifications to Zibo, I was like, "What's that sound?" I kept hearing ping, 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 ping. It was the engines cooling. How cool is that? And then I looked around the plane a lot, inspected the wheels and all that, moved around. You'd see the wing, how big it is, how high it is, the wingtips, how big they are and all that. And then I started playing. I was outside with my controller, and I went back in the cockpit, turned on electric hydraulics, went outside, and then I started playing with the flaps and just looking at the animations. And I mean, for the love of God, the guys that explained that model this plane, because I'm quite sure it's exactly the same model outside as the default plane is. Correct me if I'm wrong. But just looking at those flaps coming out and the way the slats would work and all these things, I never knew about the aircraft before. The amount of detail that went into this modeling and animation of the flaps is flabbergasting. And I was thinking it's a pain, but I've never noticed this on the screen. But seeing those flaps right there, and you can touch them, they're coming at you in 3D, and looking at how the slats are actually coming out of the wing and moving, it was amazing. It was a lot of fun, and I learned a ton about the aircraft itself and how it's built, and how the all the pieces move. So if you don't have VR and you have a friend who has VR, download Explain on a USB stick, and with the demo area, it doesn't matter. Just go out to his house, copy it, try it out. You'll be blown away. Um, Especially if you're hesitating, say, yeah, there's a video of me somewhere on YouTube where I bought this super wide monitor, and actually I returned it because it was one of the first one and it had a problem. And it was awesome playing with that. But in the meantime, my first VR headset came in and I tried that and I just canceled the monitor. It might seem expensive, and it is, but you just don't want to buy, all those hardware things anymore. All the, yes, it would be cool to, like right here next to me, set up a yoke on a table or something like that, a real yoke, so that I can actually physically touch the yoke. But besides that, you don't need all those fancy panels and building a home cockpit. And so if you're thinking about any of these things, really give VR a really good second thoughts. The cons, of course, whenever I see the resolution again on the screen, I'm like, oh yeah, the resolution on the VR headsets are crap. But I think the 3D and immersion just completely makes up for that. And don't forget that I think it's in March, Vive is coming up with its new headset with improved resolution. You'll get rid of the wire. It's going to be more comfortable. So I'm really looking forward to that. The other con, yeah, it's expensive to render. So I turn down scenery details a lot. Lots less of objects and stuff like that. I have to turn down the visual effects. But you don't really see the houses that well because of the resolution problem. So it doesn't really matter. And honestly, I'm just so busy in the cockpit that I just don't look outside all that much to notice it. Oh yeah, this other awesome thing I did. If you have VR, you gotta try that. So after the landing, start the replay, then go on the runway and play it back. So I just usually put myself on the place just so that the wing just, goes above me, or just I'm right next to where the airplane is touching down. And again, the 737, I mean, all the planes are fun to look at landing like this, but the 737 with the F-mod pack, the sounds in this thing, I mean, the guy who did that is a genius. And you just see this thing coming at you and you turn off the volume. And I have to route this on the sub here. I didn't have time to do that, but I heard that if you have a real sub on top of that, shaking your chest, it's even more amazing. But so you just crank up the volume in your headphones and you see the plane coming at you, just goes, and it just flies right over you. That's awesome. Anyway, I'm just sharing this because I think I've been simming since Bruce Artwick's Flight Simulator. Yeah, I know my beard is white. And so I've seen all the iterations of what's making simming better and better all the time. I've shared a few posts on that. For people who are wondering about should I do some 3D, I mean some VR stuff. Should I buy VR gear? Sorry. So I've pushed him, and yeah, you got to do it. But yesterday after that flight, I thought I got to do this VR post that's different from all the other guys out there. It's an ode to VR. And I remember the first big leap, was going from, a mesh in Bruce Arkwit's flight sim to 3D, even if it was really crude. It was awesome. And then the big leap was, I think it was FS98, where they actually put textures. And the first time you saw real textures and you could see the texture of the runway and kind of see textures of the clouds, that was a breakthrough. But, that completely changed my experience of Flight Simulator. But VR, it's like I'm not simming anymore. And by the way, I'm a real life pilot. So I have a good feel for like flying the Cessna in VR versus flying it in real life. And it's not being in there, but it's like this close to being in there. And it's nice to be able to fly without leaving home, without spending hundreds of dollars, just practicing stuff. It's just awesome. And just to conclude, like yesterday after that amazing flight, um, and I just gotta thank Austin for his awesome. I've been using Explain since Explain 8, although it was not my main sim. And of course, it became my main sim after I started sinking tons of money in P3D. So thank you, Austin, for your lifelong contribution to sim. Thank you for Ben, who's working with him now, and the 3D artists working with him, and all the other guys. I don't remember their name. Thank you for your regular posts, your live posts on on Facebook and YouTube. I really appreciate them. And thank you for VR. Um, yeah. So after that flight yesterday, I just went, got out of VR and put the sim back on the screen. And I was looking at it on the screen. And I thought, nah, just nah. It's VR. So if this video inspires just one person to go and try out VR, I'll be happy I did it. So go ahead, tell me what you think in the comments below. Have a good day.